Now I'm gonna send my request to the purchasing department, but before that let's add another status. Okay, and let's say at the status purchase order has been submitted, and let's say set status. Then I will just submit this form, and let's change the background color. Let's make it a little bit darker like this, and let this the button number 1, and this one the button number 2. And for the purchase department, I don't want purchase department to add any column or row, so I need to use another function for that, and that function is just SetLineItemTableButtonStates. Yes, this one. SetLineItemTableButtonStates, and I will use it for my table. Let's select the table, and I don't want to add any button. I say true. I don't want to delete any button, so I say true. So by using this function, let's say here maybe what can I say? For example, just no new button, no new row, and column. Okay, and I just by using the function will stop the purchase department to add any row or column, and I want the purchase department to edit the table maybe, so I just copy and paste this hide column function, and this time I want to make it false, but again it's not for the purchase manager yet, so let's not make them change the checkbox. So I still keep checkbox read only, and I don't show it to the first purchase stuff. Okay, and let's say unhide column, and I also want to make everything read only. I will not hide the columns, but I want to make them read only. As you can guess, I have a function for that, and that function is not hard to guess, set column read only, and this is the function, and the table again my request table, the column index will be So I want to make read-only the columns 0, 1, 2, 3, and 7, and I make it true. So let's name it read-only. So let's just show 0, 1, 2, 3, and 7, and they are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 7. So I make all these read-only, what the purchase stuff sees. Now I can just copy and paste my task form, and I can just send it to the, let's say, to procurement. All right, so the request will be done by the initiator, and it will be submitted to the procurement. So the first part of the process seems ready. Let's save it. Now we can just edit the procurement form, description, subject, and disclosure. Okay, so let's have a look. It was purchase order form, subject, and disclosure like this. Let's copy the disclosure from here and paste here, and maybe we can say now here, instead of please enter details of purchase request, please select supplier or suppliers, because it will be the procurement who will see this task. So it will be procurement form, procurement request form, and the subject can be form number, procurement request. Okay, and from the data elements, okay, let's select the form number read only, form date read only, request read only, but the request table will be entered. Okay. Okay, now it's time for the procurement to make the supplier selection. So let's make a table for that. The procurement will be able to select the suppliers from this table, and let's name the table as supplier table, and it will be line item table. So I go to my table and I just edit my table. The first column will be the supplier selection. Let's name it supplier, and it will be pop-up select, and the data will come from the database, and you know I have used this table already, so I copy this query and I go to iflow and I paste the query, and the data source will be iflow. Okay, so according to this supplier, we must be able to select the supply date and supplier email. So for that, the supplier selection will just trigger this. So I've already prepared the code for that. For example, for supplier supply date, I can use this query, but instead of using ID2, I will use the AID, which is the supplier. So I copy this query and I go to my data source, I paste my query, and okay, I can do the, let's check, yeah, that seems fine. And I can do the same for supply email, and let's check the supplier email. Yeah, let's, from this query you see, but I won't use the IDSA, the ID1. Instead of that, I will use IDA because it's the supplier. So I go to my data source, I paste my command, I select the data source. So according to the supplier, the supply date and email will be triggered automatically according to this structure, right? So I copy and paste this task form. It will be again to the procurement, assigned to the procurement, and let's say it select supplier selection. Okay, let's make the background color again of the bottom, and let's only show the supplier table, not the request table, not the form date, not the form number, but only the supplier table. Okay, so I've come across to the supplier selection. So the request will be done by the initiator, then it will come to the procurement. So according to the supplier, the selection will be done again with the procurement. I save my process and let's proceed.